As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to
Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right, it's Thursday, and we're going to be doing our flesh and potatoes for the week, and that is Heathers and
Tragedy Girls.
That's right. So 2 movies with strong female leads who kind of go on a killing spree in a way. Although one of the movies isn't so much, but it has a very similar tone in that it is all in high school. So for that reason, we're going to be calling this episode
High School Blows.
By the way, guys, just as a reminder, it is February, which means it's Women in Horror Month. So as we've been doing online, we've been kind of doing our own challenges for the Women in Horror Month. And if you guys would like to join along, all you have to do is do, a post about one of the challenges and why, and tag all the different appropriate hashtags in that on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want, to kind of show your support for women in horror. And that's part of the reason why today we're going to be talking about those movies. So, also, as another reminder, I want to let you guys know that the BTV logo t-shirts that we put up on Teespring are going to be closing up shop on Monday. We already had some people buy a lot of shirts here, and we want to thank you guys for doing that. We obviously understand that not everybody can buy a t-shirt, but if you can help share or, listen to the episodes, all that stuff really goes a long way to help us out. But if you want to continue to help support this podcast and help us keep the lights on here to keep doing what we do, you can buy a t-shirt. We split the cost with Teespring, and the rest of that money goes to help pay for the things that we do behind the scenes here each and every month, like the website, the internet, all of that stuff that's included behind the scenes. But thank you guys for supporting it. Again, if you want, you can always just share the episodes or listen. That means the world to us too. We're just going to go ahead and kick it off with our flesh and potatoes right now, so sit back and get ready for High School Blows. All right, so Brittany, we're going to kick it off with in chronological order of when they came out. So Brittany did the work on this one.
Heathers, which was released in 1988.
Ooh.
Fuck yeah. Crisp.
Yeah, it was back when we didn't have independent films, really. It was like, but this is kind of like an independent film a little bit. Yeah.
General gist of Heathers, if you don't already know, I feel bad for you. Anyways. In order to get out of the snobby clique that is destroying her good girl reputation, an intelligent teen teams up with a dark sociopath in a plot to kill the cool kids.
Oh, shit.
Dun, dun, dun. This movie was directed by Michael Lehman, who also did Airheads, 40 Days and 40 Nights, and he's done 3 episodes of American Horror Story as well, and a lot of other TV shows that he's worked on. It was written by Daniel Waters, who wrote Batman Returns, Demolition Man, and Vampire Academy. This movie stars none other than Winona Ryder, who plays Veronica, who's best known for Beetlejuice, Stranger Things, Edward Scissorhands, and about a million other fucking movies.
Right. I always remember from Beetlejuice the most, probably.
Yeah, so do I. And Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, those are the 2 big ones, yeah.
It also stars Christian Slater, who plays JD, who you might know from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, True Romance, or most recently, he is also in Mr. Robot. Also stars Shannon Doherty, who
Right.
plays Heather Dukes, who is from Mallrats, Charmed, and Beverly Hills 90210.
Of course.
Also has Lizanne Falk, who plays Heather McNamara, who was in Say Anything, Suicide Kings, and Less Than Zero. And Kim Walker, who plays the infamous Heather Chandler, a.k.a. Fuck Me With a Chainsaw, Fuck Me Gently With a Chainsaw,
Yeah.
who was in Killing Cinderella, Deadly Weapon, Nervous Ticks. She was also in Say Anything, and a couple other movies.
A lot of movies,
She
really.
passed away in like 2001, so
Wow.
that was her last movie that she did was Killing Cinderella, I think, which came out in like 2000.
Wow.
So this movie had an estimated $3 million budget, which is crazy to me for being released in 88.
Right, yeah.
Probably filmed in like 86.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of fucking money. Opening weekend, it only grossed like 177,000.
What?
Yeah. Because it was, a limited release on April 2nd of 1989. And it grossed in the United States a little over $1 million. So it was kind of a flop, essentially, but it's become a cult classic film.
Of course, yeah. That's, as a lot of them have.
Yeah, I feel like most of them in this kind of like genre have not really done all that well when they were released, and they kind of picked up steam later on in life.
It's interesting
Or
how that
shelf life.
happens, yeah.
Yeah, and they've all become these big cult classic movies, but it's because they don't really make shit like they used to anymore. Mm-hmm. So yeah, what did you think about this movie, Alex?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about it, but it's pretty much a classic movie. It's a cult classic. It's, it has some of the funniest lines that I've ever heard in a movie. Like, you could quote this movie so many different ways, like, so many different times. The "fuck me gently with a chainsaw" is probably one of the most proudest lines that you occasionally hear, I think it got overused a little bit in the 90s.
It did.
But there's a lot of really edgy, dark humor for the subject matter of suicide, especially for its time and even today. I honestly don't even think a movie like this could do that well. They are doing a TV show, though, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if it's gonna do well. if they
Yeah,
do.
it seems like it's a kind of a sensitive subject that people are a little bit more...
Especially now.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me so much, but then again, I haven't really... I think we've all known somebody that's probably been in that situation, or someone that we knew, you know what I mean? But still, while this may not be horror exactly, it is compared to Tragedy Girls quite a lot, which delves a bit more into the genre. And it's pretty fitting because of its jovial fun that it has with the rather dark subject, which is kind of similar to Tragedy Girls in that sense too. But high school is pretty much hell for a lot of kids these days. And when I was growing up, because you're still stumble and fumble folly your way through, acceptance, popularity, loneliness, like, where do I fit in? If I do this tiny little thing wrong, my whole world is over kind of attitude. And they kind of like lean on that. I think it feels like it tackles like a younger mind while also kind of mirroring today's like society, which is what the main point of the movie is that high school is very much like society in a lot of ways, just in a different way. So I think it does it with a lot of style, and it's pretty fun. Although there are some questionable things in it, but for today's standards anyway. But I still think it's a classic. It's a cult classic. So, What about you?
I love this movie. I've always liked this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's different. And I'm assuming for the time when it came out, it's definitely like a unique film, and it still is in a way.
Super edgy, super ahead of its time, kind of.
Yeah, it's compared to a couple other movies that I think actually came out before or around the same time that this one did. Massacre at Central High is one in particular that it's like very similar to.
Really?
But there's not like some of the big differences are it's a all male clique in Massacre at Central High, whereas this is all female clique, and it's the same kind of concept where like you start off killing like the bad bullies or the main bad people, and then someone sprouts its way in and like a hydra, and like another head grows.
Right.
Someone takes its place, and you gotta just keep going, and eventually it comes to the idea of like you just gotta take them all out.
Right.
Fuck it, like that kind of concept. So, but it is super dark subject matter, but I felt like a lot of people still say they have experiences like that in high school. I didn't. Like, I'm the opposite, I guess, for most people. So I liked high school. I had a really good time.
Really?
Yeah, I loved high school. I was friends with everybody, though.
I was by the end of it, but like in the beginning, it was not easy.
No, I was like the weird goth kid that everybody liked.
Really?
So I don't know. When I moved out here at the end of my freshman year. So that's what made it a little hard at first. But I mean, I met Jenny my first day of school and I was fine. I was friends with the other weird goth girl like instantly.
Right.
But then I've always been talkative and social, so I got along with everyone. But so I didn't have a bad time. I liked high school a lot.
I think I had a little bit more awkwardness in middle school, but it took me a couple of years in high school to get not fully, but like a better like handle on how things operate and work and stuff. But I was still very, nervous about, how I did things, everything, every little tiny little thing mattered, and then I just didn't care one day.
Yeah,
and when I didn't care, that's when everybody gave a shit about me, which is weird.
I think I just never cared.
Right.
So
yeah.
I was like, I showed up my first day with a skinny puppy t-shirt and like lime green fishnet tights.
I was
care.
I was the kid with ADD, so I got to put in all these like special classes.
Yeah.
And I thought there was something wrong with me. So, you know what I mean? Because all the doctors are like, well, there's the blind kid, the deaf kid, the mentally handicapped kid, and then there's you. And I'm like, oh, so I'm like one of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of fucks with kids. But
sure.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was... This is an extremely quotable movie, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
But I love that because there's just so many fun quips that come from it. You have a good time watching it from start to finish. There's a lot of shit that's so super far-fetched that you're just like, what?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, it's cool. And everybody knew those fucking types of cliques in high school. That's why it's so relatable. Like, regardless of when you went to school, how great or how bad of a time you had in high school, there's always cliques like that.
Right.
Always. There's always those fucking shitty jocks. There's always those girls that are like the popular cliquey chicks. And then there's all the nerds and the geeks. And then the big fat chick that everybody always makes fun of, or fat dude that everybody makes fun of, or whatever. So it's very relatable. They did a really good job with the tone throughout the entire movie. It's just at this one, there's a psychopath that comes up there and wants to kill people slowly but surely, and like tricks his girlfriend into it, and I don't know.
Right, and to give you guys kind of a heads up on like some of the stories so that you kind of understand it, for those of you that want to stick through some of the spoilers later on after we get past the trivia, basically what happens is this girl Veronica is trying to fit in with these 3 popular girls, all named Heather each of them. There's one main Heather, who's like the super snottiest of them all.
Heather Chandler.
Yeah. Then there's the other one that's kind of like just been there a little bit longer, and then there's the one that's like trying to be...
Yeah, so
she wants to be the number one, but she's like always spit on by the other two, pretty much.
Heather Dukes.
Yeah.
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty's character, which she's going to be in the TV show too, by the way. But so anyway, Veronica, who is played by Winona Ryder, she tries to befriend these girls and she bails on some of her real friends because she thinks popularity is the most important thing, as do a lot of kids in high school, I think. So she tries to befriend them, and she really hates them, but she deals with it because she wants to fit in. And that's when JD, the psychopath, comes in, who's Christian Slater.
Wants to have an easy time in high school.
Right.
Essentially. And
Christian Slater kind of sees right through it. Like, he knows that that's not her. He could tell because they're just these uppity bitches that are just like, always a constant bitch about everything. Like, just horrible to people. Writing notes about,
they just prank people.
They prank people.
That's what they do. They just do all these shitty pranks to people, and that's how they get through their day. And it's all orchestrated by Heather Chandler.
Right, to establish their dominance.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, as she meets this JD fella, he basically, they instantly fall in love with each other in a way. Their passion for each other, because he's odd and different than everybody else and so confident about it too. And then he suggests that, because I don't know what, he's like stalking her or something, right? And then like he comes into her window in the middle of the night and she's like, hello? And then she just invites him in and they go have sex in the yard. While her parents are asleep. And then he suggests to kill the girl, and it sort of spirals out of control from there. it starts off as a joke and she doesn't take him seriously, and then something happens.
He switches. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he kind of controls her a little bit because she's kind of stuck in this now. So they just kind of keep going with it, and then she just gets sick of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like the battle between each other and school and everything else. But did you have? You told me there was a lot of trivia on this.
There's quite a bit.
But let's talk about, what do you think? So do you think this movie holds up to today?
Oh, for sure. I think
you think
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I don't know. I feel like today it's going to be a little bit more touchy for a lot of people to watch just because of the subject matter in it.
Right.
And how it's handled.
Some people might not get it either because of because like school's different for them, you know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of people aren't going to get it, but I still think that it's people that like, dark humor and, borderline like horror movies with this like black comedy or whatever, like they're going to like it regardless. I still think it would hold true, but I mean, the first time I saw it was like 10, 15 years ago, and I loved it.
And it's before you were born, yeah.
Yeah, and I watch it now, and I love it. So every time I've watched it, I enjoy it. So I think it'll hold up. But
They really got the right cast.
They did. They absolutely did.
They nailed it. Like, and the writing's really good. I don't know. I always liked it growing up. I know that, like, like when I was younger, I know a lot of my friends that were girls really loved it, and I really loved it too. It didn't feel like, because everybody wanted to be JD or one of the girls in there or something, you know what I mean? Like, everybody wanted to be Winona Ryder.
I was always the Veronica.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody kind of related to that character, so they liked her. And at first, I liked, I thought Christian Slater was cool as fuck when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, that guy's badass. His name is James Dean, or what is his name? Was it James? Or it was something Dean. Jimmy Dean Sausage.
Jimmy Dean.
I forget because they call him JD throughout the whole movie, but they do say his name once.
The first time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call him JD throughout the entire movie, but it's like, it's not J. Is it? It's not. It can't be.
But
James.
I think they were trying to play on James Dean.
They are trying to play on James Dean.
So they tried to make him like the cool character. Plus, a lot of people said that he's tried to rip off Jason
Dean.
Jason Dean. That's right.
Yeah, that's actually
not Nicolas Cage, but
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Which drives me fucking crazy the entire time. That's why I don't like his character as much, is because he did it specifically. Like, he modeled his character after Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but he won't admit it, kind of thing.
No, he admits it. He wrote a letter to fucking Jack Nicholson asking him to watch his performance in the movie and never got a response back. He flat out was like, no, I based my character solely on, Jack Nicholson was my inspiration, kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, everyone can tell.
Yeah.
It's really fucking heavy, like, because the only person that acts like that, talks like that, and moves like that is Jack Nicholson ever.
Right.
And so when you try and emulate that as much as he does, it took me out of his character. Personally, like, he annoyed the fuck out of me like the entire time.
Really?
Yeah, he did. That's the one thing, like, true issue I've always had with it is that, like, he always takes me out of it because he annoys me. But
when I'm just saying, when I was younger, when he was a big star on the scene. Because,
for sure.
Yeah,
fuck yeah. Like, everybody
he disappeared for like a long period of time, and then he came back, and I think he did this like weird office killing movie.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job. I actually really liked that movie, and I was like, oh wow, like, he can actually act. And then I saw him in Mr. Robot, which is a fucking amazing. Although the second season took a little while to get started, but he's really good in it. Mm-hmm. So he's not just
he's come back.
Yeah, he really has. Yeah, that's hard to come back.
He was a big actor in like the 80s and early 90s, and then he just like disappeared for a while.
Yeah, there was that other movie
he was doing
where
like bit stuff and wasn't really doing anything like huge.
Fuck, what's that movie that he did where his buddy's getting married and they have a bachelor party? It's called Very Bad Things. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's the other one.
That's a funny movie. It's a fucked up movie, though. But the kills in it are fucking great, dude. Yeah. So what other trivia do we have?
Did you know that Brad Pitt actually auditioned for the role for JD initially?
Really?
Yeah. But they said no because they felt that he was too nice. Like, regardless of how badly he tried to play this character, he still came across as being too nice. So, but he got his in the end, because then eventually he starred as a character named JD in another movie like 10 years later or some shit. So, and then they put him in Fight Club. Ooh.
What?
No, I love him in Fight Club.
Of course.
Everybody does. Every woman and man probably does.
Yeah.
He's fucking hot.
Well, anybody that goes, oh, that guy's cool, they're like, what they're really saying is that guy's fucking hot.
He's fucking hot. Yeah.
every guy's just like, fuck this podcast.
Right. Fuck you guys. And another person that was actually offered a role originally, they offered the role for Heather McNamara to Heather Graham, who at the time was only 17. So her parents obviously reviewed the screenplay.
They were like, no.
And they said because of its dark subject matter, they would not fucking let her do it at all. They instantly were like, no, we're good. We're going to pass on that. Which obviously she didn't really need it anyway. So she also went on to have a really good career.
Right.
They talk about when they're going to kill off, trying to think of who it is they're going to kill. They have their copy of Moby Dick.
Oh, they're trying to kill off Shannon Doherty's character.
Yeah, okay, so
Heather Duke.
Dukes. Mm-hmm. So they're talking about killing off Heather Dukes, and so they're like, I've already underlined all these meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick and blah, 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 right?
Here, underline something.
Originally, there was an actual book that suicidal students used to supposedly underline meaningful passages in, which is actually The Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, okay.
But they couldn't use The Catcher in the Rye because they couldn't get permission from J.D. Salinger to actually use the book in the movie. But so they changed it to Moby Dick because Herman Melville's works are public domain. So they have access to use it. So that's why they changed it to Moby Dick.
Well, and it makes sense because that's a pretty fucked up story about some crazy shit, which has been used in a lot of different fucked up shit, though, right?
Right.
Like in real life, like people have read that book and like become crazy over it, like, or was it Catcher in? Yeah,
it's Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah,
Catcher in the Rye has a lot of it literally was something that was referred to
because they had the greasers in there, right? I can't remember. I read it like twice, but I don't know.
Fuck if I know. I had to read it once.
It's been years,
and I don't remember shit from it. But yeah, there've been meaningful passages highlighted in that from people that have committed or wanted to commit suicide and whatever. That is the book that people refer to.
That's interesting, yeah.
For that, but they obviously they couldn't use it. So
and the guy who wrote J.D. Salinger had an IQ of like really low.
Yeah.
And he wrote that book, so it's crazy.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for you. You're probably super dead.
He was a what do you call it? A savant.
Yeah. Idiot savant.
I don't mean that.
That's what it is.
That's kind of fucked up, but yeah.
So, the name Heather is used a whopping 90 times in this movie.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, holy fuck. Like, it slips past your ass. Like, I was like, 90 fucking times. Like, and I feel like there's probably a YouTube video where they actually count.
Heather.
Like,
yeah.
And I would kill myself. But as many times as I hear it, and just in the opening 4 minutes of the movie, you just want to shoot your fucking brains out. I'm like, I get it. So there is, what were the bullets called that he fucking says? There's one part, Each-lug bullets or whatever. He's trying to fucking talk her into using these when she wants to kill the jocks.
Right.
Or when they're going to kill the jocks.
She didn't want to kill him.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
She just went along with it. So JD tricks Veronica into killing the jocks because he claims to use these Each-lug, and I'm probably saying that super wrong, but I'm not German, sorry. Bullets, which he claims only pierce the skin and don't cause any like actual damage.
Right.
Each-lug, whatever, in German actually translated to English is I lie or I'm lying. Each-lug. Yeah, which I thought was adorably charming that they put that in there. But in
That's
one
funny.
one of the versions of the original script, Veronica actually has a tabby cat that's named JFK. and she almost tests the bullets on this cat. But JD stops her and claims that it won't work on small animals. And I'm like, I'm really glad they didn't do that. Like, I mean, it would have been kind of funny, especially like with the cat's name and like it all ties together, kind of whatever. But at the same time, I'm like,
you know why I think of that is like when we're doing like our grade plots and shit, like how we try to like rationalize certain situations as quick as possible.
You always try and kill animals, and I'm like, fuck you, Alex.
I do not.
Yes, you do, and you're always trying to kill dogs every time. I'm like, can we kill a cat, please? Or a goldfish? Jesus, why is it always gonna be a fucking dog?
Brittany hates cats.
I don't actually. I'm allergic, but I love cats. They're so cute. So earmuffs, because there's potential spoilers in this.
If you haven't seen the movie, guys, so.
But the original screenplay for this had a different ending in which Veronica kills JD by shooting him and then straps the bomb, which is a much larger and more complicated piece of equipment, described as being a cylinder as large as a television set, She straps it to herself, blowing up as JD does in the final ending. What is placed in the final ending is JD's boiler room speech about imagine I blew up the school, imagine I blew up all the schools is contained in a suicide note that's found in Veronica's locker by Heather McNamara and Betty Finn. So they find this note in there, and she's the one that did it afterwards, whatever. Okay. So the movie ends with an eerie prom sequence set in heaven, tying into JD's assertion that the only place everyone will truly get along is in heaven. The prom begins with students dancing within their social cliques and then switching partners in odd pairings like metalheads dancing with Heathers and one of the murdered jocks getting his prom picture taken with a tipped cow, and the punch is being served in the drain cleaner. The punch being served is the drain cleaner that was used in the first murder scene, and Dump Truck is singing on stage as the entertainment for the evening. This was intended to be shot, but the studio thought it was too dark for the target teenage crowd and opted for a lighter ending.
I mean, yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love it.
That's
I
like
think that's
glorifying cool. Fucking killing yourself. And
exactly.
I think,
they were smart for not going with that, I think, but it would have been interesting.
I mean, they really wanted to push the boundaries there, huh?
They did. I feel like the same way. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been a little too much. I mean, I probably would have gotten it, but you just never know. Like, right. Somebody would have been like, oh, yeah, maybe that is a good idea.
Yeah. Fuck, let's do it.
But I don't know. Like, I feel like we're getting to the point now where it's like video games kill people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I feel like now we're getting to the point where soon we're going to have to censor everything that we do almost. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to get to that point, but it just feels that way, you know?
It does.
So
and last but not least, in a very interesting turn of events.
Right.
Two stars from this movie died fairly young. And what makes it eerie is there are ways that are like strangely prophesized in the script of the movie, which I'll explain. So Jeremy Applegate, whose character, I think he was like the nerdy one that was doing the, organizing the, was it Food for the Homeless or something?
Oh, was he the OCD guy?
Yeah. And he prays that he'll never commit suicide, but he actually shot himself in March of 2000.
Wow.
And then Kim Walker, who played Heather Chandler,
okay,
who has one of the other infamous lines of "What did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?" actually died from a brain tumor in March of 2001.
Oh, weird.
And I was like, that's so fucking creepy. Like,
yeah.
Can you imagine that shit? It's like these like weirdly prophesized fucking deaths. Like,
well, no, maybe the writer
from the lines.
Them.
Oh, he killed them.
That's another movie. He's a murderer. That's crazy, anyway, man. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
That was like the craziest fucking shit in the world. And I'm like, what the hell? And I like look into it. I'm like, God damn. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. Like, but random shit happens like that all the time. Like, The Simpsons have prophesized how many fucking things that have come true.
Yeah, that's
Dear
eerie.
God,
that's just fucking eerie.
Weird. And I'm like, Simpsons, make everything better. Prophesize a better future.
Right, yeah.
Please.
They're tapping into the God particle.
Just make it happen. But yeah.
Actually, I have one bit of trivia that I wanted to talk about, and I've mentioned it a couple of times at the TV show. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Paramount currently owns. It's in the works. So they're actually still working on it as of today. But I guess they're looking for a place to put it on because it says Paramount Network in the trailer. But it's really interesting. Like, there are no big names that I know or recognize, but I'm a little bit older, so there might be some that may be. But they have a bigger girl who's going to play the Heather Chandler. Like, she's like the popular girl. And they even make it a comment in the trailer. They say, so fat girls can get popular now?
Oh, Jesus.
And then they're like, we don't call it fat girls nowadays.
I'm already out.
Why?
I'm already checked out. It's annoying.
What?
Sorry. Like, that just bothers me.
Oh, no. They correct him and make him look like an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like...
Who corrects who?
They're not making fun of people. They're trying to say that the world is a different place than it was back in 88.
Oh, okay.
That's what they were trying to do in the trailer, I think. But Heather, the number one Heather girl, she's a little bit of a bigger girl. She's kind of like the badass. She's kind of like a punk rocker in a way. It's kind of weird. There's another girl who plays Heather 2, and then they also have a gay guy for Heather 3.
Sweet.
So it's like they still have the same bickering and arguments like between each other, and like the main Heather gets killed the same way. The characters, I don't really know them, but it seems okay. The JD character is kind of weak, in my opinion. But
Who'd they cast for JD?
I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know any of these people. So, but it looks okay. I kind of giggled a little bit while watching the trailer. But it kind of reminds me of, like, a darker version of, like, the kind of tone that you would have for, I don't know. It's just, like, a silly tone.
Yeah, they're kind of just, or like Hairspray or some shit.
Yeah, like that, or
Well, they did
that
Heather's
other one.
musical.
What's that show that does the musical?
Glee.
It's kind of like
Well,
that.
they did a musical for Heather's, but
Oh, really?
yeah, that's what I was seeing. Well, what the hell?
I don't fucking remember that.
But I don't know.
But I just thought it'd
I
be
think that they're trying to come off the heels of like Scream Queens and the success that Scream Queens
right.
had. So
Well,
that's why
the second season didn't do all that well, did it?
I fucking hate that show anyways, so I don't really
I liked
care,
the first season, but the second season was horrible.
they still fucking a lot of people watch it and a lot of people are into it, and so they kind of are, I think that's why they're trying to like revise this now in a way, because it's kind of similar-esque, and then it's like got the, I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to talk about this. This is going to come up in Tragedy Girls when we talk about that, because I see there's a correlation here to what you may or may not like, so we'll bring it up then. But so we do our favorite scenes.
Yeah.
We'll
let you kick it off.
Well, one of the things, and I wrote a bunch down, but I love that Veronica has breakfast with the parents, and it's almost like it's like a different conversation each time, but they do the exact same thing.
Oh, when she eats the pate.
Yeah. Like she's like it's always like, he's like, I don't know why the hell I read these damn spy novels. And she's like, 'cause you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah. And then he's like, I don't know why the hell I smoke these cigarettes. That's 'cause you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Ah! And then she's like, you too.
Great pate, but I got a motor if I'm gonna get to this whatever thing. First one's school or something.
But I think that's like
party.
the reason I like that so much is that's because like when you're a teen and you're in high school, like all that conversation with your family is just to get to school so that you can like have that conversation, have fun with your friends and like try to make your way into your life in a little way. To me, like that makes it's a really significant thing to me, in my opinion. So I like that little element in there where everything's mundane, where it's safe and sound. And everybody's naive. Parents are always so naive. Like, they have no clue what's going on in school. Like, how dark it goes and stuff sometimes.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. So I just like that for that reason. So, what about you?
I like all those scenes, too. They're cute and they're organic, and they feel like
Oh, the
how it
parents
would
are
actually
fun,
be.
man.
They are fun.
Dude, I fucking love it. Like, I'll mention another one after we get through a little bit. What about you? What other parts?
I love when Heather Chandler dies.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
Then they have this whole chat, like, because JD ends up switching the cups. Like, he's trying to convince her to feed her this, like, Drano shit. And then she's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do milk and orange juice. So they're trying to make her throw up or something, right? Like, because she's all hungover after this party and she treated Veronica like shit. Whatever.
Would you hock a phlegm globber in there?
Would you hack a phlegm globber in there? Like, what do you think? What do you think this is? I'm just not gonna drink it because you call me chicken. And then she's like, give me the fucking cup or whatever.
Yeah.
Then she takes it and she drinks the Drano cup and then she just like starts choking and then falls through a glass table. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it's awesome. And they're all just standing there like,
what the fuck?
the hell?
It's like a
And
little
then-
piece of Veronica is like really happy at that moment, but
for sure.
but
And
also
then she, like,
shocked that
freaks
it just
out.
happened. Yeah.
And then prior to that scene too, where she's like writing in her journal about like every scene she writes in her journal, she's wearing a fucking monocle.
I know.
And I'm
I was like,
who are you,
what
the fucking Monopoly man? Like, get the fuck out of here.
I was thinking the same thing. The first time I saw it, I was like, whatever, it's just some weird quirky thing. But every time, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's weird.
Stupid. And then she, like, at one point when she goes to write in it, and you can never read her fucking sloppy ass handwriting when they, like, close in on it.
But
it's
she
like
actually wrote it out.
18 fucking
Yeah.
point-sized type word shit. It's ridiculous. Like, it's like 7 words that fit on one page. Like, it's insane. But yeah, but at one point she like reaches in her pocket and pulls her fucking monocle out and puts it on and then starts writing.
Well, hello, chaps.
Hello there, chaps. Like, do not
Time
pass
to
go.
write in the diary. Hello. Cheerio.
$100. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Sorry, all my English friends. I apologize.
Yeah, the shit cracks me up though. All those scenes, I just like die. It's so funny. I'm sorry. Go.
There's I figure we just pass it back and forth. There's a part where one of the two jock guys are picking on some of the nerdy guys, and they're like telling him to say that he likes to suck dicks. He's like, say you like to suck big dicks. And he's like, you like to suck big dicks. And he's like, what? He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I like to suck big dicks. So delicious. I don't know why I find that funny, but just like how he like, because
That shit's hilarious.
When I was like in high school, like we played this game, like it's called the penis game, where you would yell.
There you go, penis.
Yeah, you would say
Penis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
penis.
I do that all the time. Penis.
Right. So it kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I also remember getting picked on and people trying to make you say stuff like that so they would stop picking on you. You know what I mean? Like,
Uncle. Yeah.
right.
All
What else?
great. I like when they do the lunchtime poll and they decide that they need to branch out to different cliques.
Right.
So they're talking to the metalhead dude outside.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
parking lot, and they ask him the question, which is like, you win Publisher Clearinghouse or whatever, $5 million, however much money it is, $2 million, and then, or was it 5 or 10, whatever, it's a bunch of millions of dollars, and then aliens land on the earth and say they're gonna blow it up in 2 days. What would you do? Right, and this fucking metalhead's answer is, so you go to the zoo and like you get a lion, right? So then you stick a remote control bomb up its butt, push the button on the bomb, and then you and the lion like die as one. Like how they explain this, and they're cutting back and forth between a bunch of different students in this time frame, and his is just so fucking outlandishly insane. And you'd think that'd be like a stoner answer, but it's like the metalhead dude's answer, and I don't know, it's fucking great.
Yeah, there was some funny ones in that.
There was a lot in the stone. What? Oh my god.
There was also some weird parts in the movie where like JD and her like kill the two guys, and he lights the cigarette off her. He takes the
I
fucking.
hated that.
I was like, what the fuck? Like he takes the cigarette lighter out of the car, which is probably something that a lot of you younger folks don't know what the
remember.
fuck it is, because they don't have them anymore. They just have them for like sockets.
That they're all like the plugins now. Yeah.
Right, yeah, like, but yeah, like he takes the cigarette lighter from the car and then burns her hand. She's like, ow!
No, she does it to herself.
Oh, that's right. And then
she
he
lights the cigarette.
and then he lights it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because she's trying to feel something. Like, so you get that moment of why she's doing it. 'Cause
Right.
She feels just dead, basically. So she's trying to like
Or she's trying to wake up.
cause herself some physical pain.
Right.
And so she, she's going to smoke the cigarette and she just has it dangling in her lips, and then she lights the thing, she takes it out, and then she just looks at it and then burns her hand. And then she's screaming because she's in pain, and what this motherfucker does is just like grabs her fucking hand and then lights his cigarette off of her like burned
Which would
palm.
never happen, but
No.
it's still kind of interesting.
It was interesting, and I was like, oh god, like, but I hate that. But then it was like, but it's cool because it shows how much of a fucking sociopath he is.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I like his character. Like, he did a really good job of being a crazy
Totally
fuck.
disengaged. Yeah.
Right, like he's
he was
kind of
good.
welcoming in the beginning because you realize that she's in the wrong clique to begin
Yeah,
with.
he's like the cute outcast.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, oh, that guy's cool, but then like you start to see it unfold slowly. Like the weird thing with the dad, like, hey son.
Ugh,
he
that-
calls
their whole
like his dad
interactions.
calls him his dad, and then Christian Slater calls his dad son.
Yeah,
and they
son and
like
pop or whatever.
share each other's conversations like as like a sort of play.
It's like this weird third person like commentary.
Yeah, it's almost like
Comfortable.
because they're not close, so that this is their little game that they play with each other to pretend like they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like something that the writer and the director wanted because of that, because it's like he's disassociated with anything that really matters. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's interesting. What else? Did you have anything else? There's some pretty funny lines. We haven't mentioned a lot of them.
There are a lot of funny lines.
I'm going to tell one of mine. My son's a homosexual. I love my dead gay son.
I love my dead gay son. I also love what's his name, who's from fucking Beetlejuice. He's the priest. Oh my god, he's great too.
Oh, yeah, that
Pluto,
guy is
whatever
cool.
his name is,
and then
like-
he's like, I like that little dream segment they have of him
Yeah,
when,
it's
when she's
dope.
tripping and she's like,
So Beetlejuicy.
igloo. I think this word that was underlined in her suicide letter means more than anything because of the cold, harsh reality that she lived in. And it's like, it was just such a bastardized, but yeah. And they were both in Beetlejuice together. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's awesome.
yeah, it is awesome.
All every scene he's in is cool because he's just fun. And the first time you see him, you're like, oh, it's Oboe. Wasn't that his name in Beetlejuice?
Yeah,
or
I think you're
whatever?
right, yeah.
like, fucking hilarious. I like. Yeah, no, kind of gets dark after that point.
Yeah, but there's
Doesn't
some really funny dark humor in it.
There is a lot. But I mean,
I
there's
have
so
like
many,
2 more.
I feel like we could just we'll just tell the whole movie if we keep going.
No.
But
There was one part where she's like, another parent one that I really love is like the parents are watching like somebody else commit suicide or try to commit suicide, or they're watching this like televised thing where one of the teachers who's like a hippie like tries to bring people together, and the parents are like, yeah, that's so sad. Why do they do this? I don't understand. She's like, you know what? We don't really need this. We don't need to be treated like we don't need to be patronized like cute little fucking bunnies. We need to be fucking treated like human beings and recognize. And he's like, wait a second, I don't patronize bunnies. Like, what?
he says this stupid shit, and then like he's still an idiot.
But that's
Mom
like
comes up with this like beautiful speech of like,
right?
What? Like,
well, you know what it is? It's to show that how disassociated or disconnected families are from some of their kids.
Yeah.
And like how these kids kind of run ravenous a little bit, in the world. So I kind of look at it as that. So
Yeah.
the only other thing that I could mention, and this is without spoiling anymore, is at one point Veronica shoots off JD's middle finger as he's flicking her off.
Yeah, I forgot. I love
And
that
I fucking love
part.
that. That was funny.
That was great.
It's weird to look at in HD.
I really love the end is just great.
Well, yeah, that's so
I'm not
cool.
gonna spoil it.
That's a JD move, is what she did.
Yeah, she did.
She pulled a
and it's
JD
fucking
move,
glorious.
which is perfect because, fuck him.
She's such a badass. Like in that moment, I'm just like, you get it, girl.
Oh, I fucking love,
I
Martha
won't ruin it.
Dumptruck.
I won't ruin that part
Yeah.
for you guys. Like
I
everybody.
mean, I'm sure most people have
gotta
seen
watch
it.
If you haven't, like, it's on fucking Netflix for free. Go watch that shit.
I like it, and she's like, this isn't really ruining anything. She's like, there's a new sheriff in town, and then she goes and asks that girl, and I loved
You wanna
that
be my
part.
date to prom?
Yeah,
Super
like I
cute.
loved it. Pop some popcorn. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like now she's like the loser queen.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what I mean? Like it's fucking badass.
She takes the stupid fucking scrunchie from Heather Dukes.
Right.
Well, yeah, fuck you, Shannon Doherty.
Now, we do have another movie that we want to talk about, guys, and then we're going to compare and contrast and pick one of our winners. So I think we're going to be a little bit torn on this. I got the gist from Brittany, because sometimes we have a little pre-show bantering that we can't hold back from. We try to, but... So the next movie that we're going to watch, that it gets compared to the movie we just talked about, Heathers, just came out. It was actually in the festivals in 2017 at the tail end, around October or so. And then I think it was before October. And then it hit the theaters in October in select theaters for a little while. But it just came out here just this past week. And it's called Tragedy Girls. And it's came out in 2017 technically. So the story goes, a twist on the slasher genre following 2 death-obsessed teenage girls who use their online show about real-life tragedies to send their small Midwestern town into a frenzy and cement their legacy as modern horror legends.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay, this movie was directed by and written by Tyler McIntyre, who also did a movie called Patchwork, which I actually watched and didn't realize he was going to be the director of. It's not perfect, but Patchwork is really kind of entertaining. It's about a girl, like several girls, who get cut up and their brains get put together and put into one body in this like dead person sewn together. That's why it's called Patchwork. And they share the same thoughts.
Neat.
But when they talk, it's technically like when you see them, it's just them physically one person.
Is it all their voices when they talk?
Right. But then they also show them sitting around in a room when they're like by themselves. And it's actually pretty genius. It's actually really good. I think you would like it.
It sounds cool.
I think it's on Prime still if you want to watch it, or
check it out.
Netflix, one of the two. So, but I would check it out, guys, if you can. It was also written by Chris Lee Hill, who also did Patchwork, and he also did a TV show called The People Who Touch Your Food.
Gross.
It was actually the screenplay was written by Justin Olson, who really hasn't done anything, which is surprising.
Yeah.
So some of the cast in this movie is Brianna Hildebrand, who is Sadie.
Yay. Yay.
She was in Deadpool, and she's going to be in the new sequel. She was known as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She's also in the Exorcist TV show, amongst a few other things. Also, Alexandra Shipp, who plays Michaela. She is in Straight Outta Compton, X-Men Apocalypse. She was the Storm, the younger version.
Young Storm, yeah.
Which I thought she did a good job. Like, I don't
remember her in Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, I don't remember her either in there, but she's in there. I'm gonna have to look and watch it again. It also stars Jack Quaid, who plays Jordan. He's in the Hunger Games movies.
Is he related to Dennis Quaid?
I looked that up, but I couldn't find it.
But
yeah, I didn't see anything about that.
Hunger Game? Oh yeah, that's PETA, right?
Yes, PETA.
Okay, that's what I fucking recognized him
Right.
from. Jesus, sorry.
He's
the cool guy
also
with the
in
motorcycle.
Marvel. He's also in Logan Lucky and the new movie Rampage. Also stars Kevin Durant, who is Lowell, who plays
Fucking guy.
the psychotic killer, who is just great, dude.
He's so
I love
stupid.
this guy. I don't know what it
He's
is
my
about
favorite.
him. He's kind of like the Ron Perlman in a way, but he's just got a little quirkierness to him. Like, he's a big, bulky kind of dude, and he's been in movies like Smoking Aces, which I loved him in. He was in Legion. He was in the Strain TV show as the Rat Inspector.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's good
the
in
best
that.
fucking character.
He's in Real Steel, which was not a good movie, but I kind of like it. It's a closet movie that I love.
Real Steel, the robot.
It's about the
things,
robots,
right?
yeah.
Well, who's the main dude that's in that though?
I forget.
He's a big actor. It's not.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Not Wolverine guy.
That's what I thought it was.
Isn't it him?
I thought it was the Wolverine guy.
Okay, I think it is.
So maybe it is.
Who the fuck? What is his name? Jesus.
I can't. Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it is Hugh Jackman.
It's got to be if we both thought that.
Yeah, well, sure. It's Hugh Jackman. If it wasn't, it is now.
I didn't look
Anyway,
it up, but
we don't care.
he
I'm sorry.
also, Kevin Durant starred in. Well, he didn't star, but he was one of the characters in Resident Evil Retribution.
Yeah.
And he was also in another horror movie called Dark Was the Night.
I forgot he was
So
Resident Evil.
a lot of people, some people are on the fence about that movie, but some people really like it. I remember getting
haven't
recommended
seen
that
it.
movie a lot, and I still haven't seen it.
I just love him in Strain.
Oh yeah. Also, it stars Craig Robinson, who was Big Al.
Yeah.
His name is Big Al in the movie.
He's great.
He's in the Office TV show from America, not the English version.
Yeah.
He was also in the Hot Tub Time Machine movies, Pineapple Express, This Is the End, and the new TV show called Ghosted.
Yeah, it's not like the Seth Rogen movies.
A lot of them, yeah. So, also, and one last one. I mean, there's a lot of people in this movie, guy.
There are a lot.
So, I mean, I could name everybody off. I mean, they all did a decent job in this movie, I thought. But there is, of course, Josh Hutcherson, who was in this movie. He was in Journey to the Center of the Earth, Adventure at the Center of the Earth, as the game.
I sense a theme here.
Yeah. He was also in the movie Detention, which a lot of people feel is a little too ADD for them, but I really like it. It's also known as one of the movies that Dane Cook did. I like the movie. I think it's weird and just ADD and spastic. Might want to check it out if you guys like this movie. Also, he was in all the Hunger Games movies for the most part. He was also in this new show that's on Hulu, which is called Future Man, which is pretty funny. I enjoy it. I don't think it's perfect, but yeah, Brittany. So, what did you think of Tragedy Girls?
I had a lot of fun watching it. It's a really cool, interesting, current take on a slasher film without being aggravatingly annoying.
Okay.
Like, I know a lot of people felt like their characters were that just pissed them off because they were irritating and annoying, and I didn't feel that way so much. Like, I liked them. I got more annoyed with Michaela, I think, than anything.
Okay.
But
What are you saying that from an actress standpoint, or are you
character.
saying it from the character
just
standpoint?
character standpoint in general, not
Well,
the
because
actor,
she's
actress.
supposed to be a little bit.
I know, and then she's doing her job because she's annoying me. But it's accurate. It's a good portrayal of how shit is now. I feel like, or especially with social media and the darkness that is the social media network and everything like that. So they do a really good job of making everything prevalent, relevant to today, and why people will try and make something out of themselves and get popular off of tragic things. So, and they're trying to be their own little investigators or whatever, but then at the same time, they model after this fucking psycho killer, and then they want to be these psycho killers, and it all explains later on in the movie of what kind of brings them to that point, I guess. It loosely explains it, but yeah, I felt like it was a little bit of a jumbled story. Like it had some side points and notes that didn't really need to exist at all, and that it wasn't that believable to me, which is the issue I took from it. But if you take that out of it, it's fucking fun. It's entertaining. You're not going to be fucking bored watching it. If you were, I don't know how, because there's a lot of really cool fucking kill scenes in it that make it super interesting on its own.
Okay.
There's good jokes in there that are really funny, and it's a super dark comedy. Like it's very dark. Like that's how they mean it to come across, and I feel like, and they did a really good job. So.
But you said that you kind of mentioned that you weren't a huge fan of it, though.
I didn't love it, but I think I set myself up. Like I got too stoked or too psyched to watch it because I was really excited about it. When we first watched the trailer, I was like, this looks so fucking cool. Like I'm so into this. It looks really funny and interesting, and as a, whatever, and it just didn't deliver what I wanted it to.
And you said you didn't feel it was too funny?
It was funny, but it wasn't as funny as I felt like it could have been, because they were trying to make this, it's a comedy. They're trying to do a dark comedy from this. It's not supposed to be this serious horror movie. It's kind of like Not Another Teen Movie and what's it called? Not the one that
you think Not Another Teen Movie?
They make fun of the one that makes fun of Scream.
Oh,
primarily Scary Movie.
Scary Movie.
So it's
really?
like, to me,
that's
it's
what
like
you got from it?
Not stupid slapsticky comedy, but they're trying to combine this funny dark comedy with like movies like that, or like The Babysitter is a better example, actually.
Okay.
So take something like The Babysitter, and they're trying to do this like dark humor and horror combination, but make it about these two high school girls that are trying to have a fucking famous blog.
Okay.
Or whatever. And so I don't know. I felt like it could have been a little bit more funny, but to me, that's what they're trying for.
No, that's fine. I mean, do you mind if I hate on you for a little bit? No, I'm kidding.
I don't care.
I'm totally kidding.
I didn't get out of it what I wanted to get from it. So I still liked it, but not as much as I thought.
And when we get into our combined thoughts after I tell mine or whatever, I want to know what you were looking for, because I'm curious.
I explained it.
Yeah, but I want specifics, like specifically what you were looking for. But as far as my thoughts on this movie, I wrote a little bit of a piece on this because I really enjoyed it, like a lot, like seriously. But I really loved it a lot because, first of all, let me preface this by saying that I am a huge fan of anything that mocks social media, because I fucking hate it. And I fucking love it at the same time. So any jab I can take at it. But the way I look at this movie is as, imagine if the narcissism that people have online for getting attention suddenly jumped off of a pink bedazzled iPhone screen and then shouted, "Oh my God, like your hair is so frizz," and started cutting your head off with a knife that has somewhat of a friendship bracelet attached to the end. That's pretty much Tragedy Girls in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It makes me happy because it understands online culture and social media while simultaneously spitting in its precious little fucking face, which I fucking love because I hate the internet sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that in some ways. The movie's pretty funny. It's brutal and pretty gory. I was expecting a lot less gore than this, and it kind of delivered on it in some ways. Not really the actions of it happening, but kind of like just the pieces, I
didn't
could say.
expect as much either.
The performances by Brianna Hildebrand and Alexander Shipp are pretty electric to me. I think they're really perfect together. Adding Kevin Durand is a fun touch that they add in. So I think his performance is genuinely enjoyable, and I think he added more to their characters because, let's face it, Brianna and Alexander, this is their movie. It's about them. And, he's kind of a dumb sort of killer guy, but I think it's really funny. The comparison to Heathers, maybe Jawbreaker and Mean Girls, is probably very accurate. And if they had a social media account back then when these movies were going on, the humor in the movie, though, it's not laugh out loud all the time, but I do like the deadpan and dry humor. It's still good.
Oh, yeah,
you know what
great.
I mean? There are a lot of moments thrown in for just about everyone's tastes on humor. So there's a little bit in there for, I think, everybody. That is, if you don't mind, darker humor anyway. But one thing I really appreciated about this movie is when I thought that the movie was going to nosedive, it actually had the sense not to follow that typical trope and be its own thing, which I appreciated. And some people I found online really hated.
Which
We can't say now.
I want to know what part you're talking about.
But on the surface here, guys, like without spoiling anything, I highly personally recommend this movie. It's got cult classic written all over it. I personally think years from now, the younger people who enjoyed this will be nostalgic for it, like you were, May, and everything else. Like, they're going to love this movie. And if they don't like it now, they're going to like it later. I really, really personally feel like.
No, I agree.
And I think they did a good job of not going too wacky. So, you know, and don't get me wrong, by the way, this can be enjoyed by many different types of people, I think. And it's not just some dumb Valley Girl style killer with an iPhone, you know, movie. And it's much more than that to me. And I think it's pretty fucking stylish. Totally trying to nod off to the 90s. 100%. Which me and Christina got into an argument. And when I get into the trivia, she can suck a dick. Someone else's, maybe? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
She
I'm
won't suck
sorry.
yours, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Tell her that. She's going to fuck you, bitch.
She'll laugh. But, yeah, man. So, guys, to give you kind of an idea about this story, essentially two girls, I'm not going to ruin anything for you too much, but I am going to tell a little bit of the story.
So, earmuffs if you don't want spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want anything
From
spoiled.
this point on.
But I really don't think it's any
downhill.
spoilery stuff that I'm going to tell you at all. Like, pretty much two girls who want to be killers decide that they are the bestest friends in the whole fucking world, and they decide that they want to be memorized, or, you know, have them like they want to be remembered forever. Much like a lot of the YouTube stars that people like who swallow shit or eat Tide Pods and like inject crocodile or whatever the fuck it is that they want to fucking do to become famous. And they want to become famous. They want to be known. They want to be remembered for some reason. They think that's really important, which a lot of people online do, to be quite honest with you. So they kidnap a guy who is a killer so that they can learn from him and kill people in school. And they go around and kill a lot of different people in school while doing their publication on their Facebook page or Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's their Twitter page. That's right. But they do it on Facebook too, I think, because they show some stuff.
It's mostly Twitter.
But they show basically, they do like these videos where they have this guy that they're friends with who's like a dropout who looks like he's fucking 30, 50 years old. Like,
He only got held back a year.
He only got held back a year, but he looks like he got held back 10.
Weird casting on that one.
But he is legitimately pretty young. He's like 23 in real life. I looked it up.
He looks old.
But they hire this guy to do it. There's a little bit of a love story in there, and it starts to kind of follow the typical trope. But the killing, the murder, and all that is pretty interesting, and I think it's funny. So now me and you can talk about...
That's the trope you're talking about.
At the very end. Now we can kind of get into a little bit more about what we think about this movie, and a little more spoiler. As it gets on, guys, it gets a little bit more spoilery and spoilery. So trivia that we have on this, director McIntyre came from a very small town. He, like in some of the interviews, I saw him asked like where he got his inspiration from, and he's really just like, oh, I just was a big fan of the 90s. Like, I loved horror movies in the 90s. I loved I was in high school in the 90s, and I just remember a lot about the being in high school in the 90s, and that's what I wanted to give a nod to.
The 90s?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So the 90s.
Which it feels super like a 90s slashers movie.
Well, the reason
like
I've been saying it so
movie.
much is because Christina, she tried to stop me. I was like, oh, this is totally a nod to the 90s. She was like, no, it's not.
It is hardcore.
And I was like, baby, it totally is. And she was like, no, it's not. This is how people are these days. I was like, how would you know? But then when I was out there watching some of the like behind the scenes and interviews, and he said it directly, I was like, oh, did you hear that? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
It's like girls in high school don't dress like that. Like the clothes that they were wearing and stuff, like not. I don't know.
You
That's
think?
like,
I don't know.
It felt more like 90s, early 2000s.
I'm
like,
so out of
styling
touch. I'm
to
an
me.
old fuck.
Like, I have a girl that is in high school still that works at my job, so I see what she wears every fucking day, and the high school girls that come to my job every fucking day because I'm in a doctor's office, so it's like, I know what they're wearing, and it's not those outfits.
Really?
Yeah, their outfits to me were looked a little more dated, like more like 2000. I don't know if they're trying to go for like a retro-y.
Well, maybe because it's it was written by people who were aiming for the 90s.
Yeah, which that makes sense to me.
Yeah, with like a little bit of a more of a
And
flair.
like more retro style kind of styling to me. It doesn't seem as current, but I don't know. I'm not a fucking stylist. I don't know.
I mean, he said
could
he
be totally
wanted
wrong, but-
90s with a little teeth.
which makes sense.
Yeah. So
It felt super 90s to me, so I just all wanted them to say fetch.
a lot of
Stupid shit like that.
yeah,
Totally.
a lot of the interviewers, the people that were interviewing him, and some of the cast. Actually, Brianna didn't get any. I didn't see very many interviews with her because I think she was on the set of working on Deadpool.
I'm sure.
While
That comes
this was
out in,
going
like, May.
Yeah, so she was like doing a lot of stuff, but she wasn't in any of the interviews, very many. But they asked him a lot about social media and like how prevalent it is in this movie, because it really is. Like, and that's one of the things I really love about it is that just it's mocking like all the like ridiculous Valley Girl sort of thing that you would call Valley Girl, like, fucking just prep like little narcissistic little fucks, you know what I mean? That are just like looking for attention. This is kind of what it is making fun of. But he said, the director, that he feels like Twitter is a fucking horrifying place anymore, and you have to be very careful what you say on there. So, but he felt like, people should be living life a little bit more outside of online than they are, and I'm kind of in that age bracket, I think, now, where it's like, get off my land!
I've been on get off my lawn territory since I was like 16.
Right.
Well, fuck out my life.
I don't know, maybe,
Fuck
I
out.
think I'm very big part of online, but it's interesting. And I even asked Alexandra, and she was like, I kind of like worry about some of that she hates. She said she hates and loves online because she doesn't like that people need to perpetuate likes and shares
Yeah.
to feel worth.
Adequate.
Yeah, like to feel like they belong, because that skews like the information that you put out on that on that thing, because you got to keep up appearances, sort of.
Right.
So she doesn't like it. She says she prefers, real life interactions. But she said there is some good things that she does like about it, and that, that there are good things where they can reach out. And she was like, I love to follow dog profiles and cat profiles. I'm weird.
That's like all I pay attention to too. So
She said that she gets a little worried. The scariest part of online is probably the beauty lessons that these random people will teach online, because they teach these little. She's like, I go to these things and like there's little kids like writing in there, and this person's molding and shaping the mind
of a child.
of a child.
That's not theirs.
That's not. Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking weird.
So she's like, that scares me. Like, what people feel is beauty is kind of scary. So I don't know. I think that's kind of true. They had also asked them, what would their favorite movies, like horror movie, was, if they had to pick one. And Alexandra said Carrie. She said that was her favorite. And she said she loved the whole, maybe you shouldn't pick on girls. Are they? And you better, if you do, hope that they're not fucking
Lock
psychic.
you in a gym and set it on fire.
Yeah. And McIntyre said that he loved Evil Dead. He said he just loved the aesthetic of it. It just felt right, and like it's just one of his favorite.
You can feel that because his comedy is kind of styled that way.
Right. Director also said that because he comes from being an editor, like an editor for films and TV and stuff like that, he understands that sometimes you need to take multiple takes that you don't normally get when you're in the editing room and you desperately need. So he said he was very careful to shoot 2 different types of shots for each scene. Like one that would be a little sillier and one that would be a little darker. So that if he needed to change the tone,
Yeah, I could do it easily.
he could do it easily in the editing room.
Makes sense.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Smart.
It is smart, but that's an aspect that a lot of directors might not think of, and they may either just luck out on getting the right scenes,
Or they have to go back.
or they have to go back, which costs a lot of fucking money. Reshoots suck, but I think it kind of helped him to kind of like nail down the overall tone of the film. So I think that's pretty awesome. I think it's interesting to know that. Speaking of movies that this was kind of like influenced by, a lot of people asked him, like, what was the influence like, other than the 90s thing? Christina. Just kidding. I love you. The director said that 3 O'Clock High which I've never actually seen.
Never even heard of it.
But apparently it's this underrated masterpiece about high school. And in the interview, the guy said that it's kind of like Evil Dead 2 written by John Hughes. And I was like, what?
Interesting.
How have I never seen this fucking movie? So I really want to see it now. 3 o'clock high. So I have no idea. I've never heard of this. Like, and it was like old. It was like an old movie. And both the director and the interviewer were both like chopping it up like, oh my God, it's so
Jizzing their
good.
pants. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see it. So have you guys seen this movie? Have you ever heard of this? I mean, I can't see them all, so we can't see them all. So what were some of your scenes that stood out for you?
I have one like big favorite in particular. When they're in the car and it's so fucking classic slasher and it's a fantastic when they capture the killer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I fucking loved it. It was brilliant. In the beginning, I'm just like, that's not. They can't start
That
it
was
this way.
totally
I'm like,
90s.
What the fuck? But it was, but I was like, they're seriously gonna start it off this way, like no explanation, like. And I think that's what tripped me up in the beginning, honestly, because I didn't expect it to take the turn that it did with the killer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I was kind of like, why? I don't know. I struggled.
thought it was fun.
It was fun, but I struggled with it a little bit, and I still kind of do. Like, I think that's what I did not see it coming. So good on them, I guess. But I don't know. I didn't think that was gonna be.
Well, what do you mean? I'm curious. Like, what?
I felt like
what does it bother you about it?
I felt like this was going to be something they were going to be doing on their own, in a way. Like, that maybe that they're trying to rebuild this folklore or something that was going on, like some weird things that were happening in this town and shit stops. And that's what they were reporting on, and it just stops happening. So then they decide that they're going to make shit up as they go, and then, like, accidents happen. And it's kind of how it comes across, you know? And then, like, it's just the two of them.
Okay.
Perpetrating this whole thing. There's never any.
I thought it was a cool twist.
There's never any like dude that has to come across that they're trying to follow.
I love that Duran gets captured.
It works.
Like, I thought it was funny. Like,
yeah,
it was
working.
like because you would never think that two schoolgirls
not
would
at all.
ever be able to pull something like that off. In some way, they're just so good at what they do. They just aren't. They're budding killers.
Yeah.
And so they're looking for the help of some other.
Yeah, that was
like master killer.
Yeah, I think that the impracticality of it all, though, is what really took me out of it.
Oh,
How are
okay.
these two tiny-ass little girls going to fucking overpower this guy? Come on. And especially later on with fucking, what's his name's character? The big dude? Please.
Oh, that was great.
That was a great fucking scene.
Yeah.
I love that scene. And fucking incredible. But yeah, I'm just like, how...
I don't know, man. That didn't bother me. I mean,
and it shouldn't.
I
because...
understood the tone of the film as soon as I realized that they were capturing some other guy.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I knew that they were just like, oh, this is what we're just really smart, blah, blah, blah. I didn't look at the logistics of it. I didn't really care. I was just like, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
It works.
However they got him, they got him.
And they got it to work. So, I mean, good on them because it works. I just didn't expect it.
Right,
And
okay.
I didn't feel like it really needed it. So... I thought they could have done a really good job with the movie.
I liked it. I thought that was cool.
But he was an interesting character and like a subplot that they had going on. So it works. And I kind of, in the same time, they're like, fuck you, we don't need you. Like, you're just here if we need inspiration. But they don't ever even use him for anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why is he fucking there? That's what I'm saying. He's not, there's no point.
I think it was also to prove to them that they could be killers.
Right. It's like them proving to themselves that they can do this on their own. But at the same time, like, that was their plan.
Right. Well, but you got to think of these are like little girls that don't really know any better.
I totally makes sense.
But they always somehow win, no matter what.
Right. And
like it
that's
always
just,
works out in their favor.
That's the biggest thing to me is as much as I liked his character and I thought that he was interesting, I didn't think he was necessary at all.
Wow.
So I really thought
That's
like
cold,
if you and I love him. He's a good actor and his character was funny and different. But if you think back on the whole movie and you take the very few scenes of him in it out, it's still a good fucking movie without any of that shit. I felt like it was an unnecessary part.
But it's also a very unoriginal movie if you did it that way.
I don't know, and I
thought that was original that they did that.
It almost feels like an afterthought to me that they like decided to throw that in there, but I mean, it's not.
I'd have to ask.
I don't know.
I didn't think that. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun.
Think that it needed it, but it works. They made it work, which is good on them. But it kind of threw me in the beginning
for a loop. Okay.
instantly.
No worries.
And I'm just like, how the fuck are these two little girls taking this guy down? I don't get it. Like, but it's still, he's
the sense of humor in this movie it leans towards it. None of this would happen anyway. So
well,
that's why it doesn't take me
I
out
didn't
of
care.
it. Yeah,
like,
that's
why
right.
I stopped paying attention to that fucking within the first 20 minutes of the movie. I'm just like, fuck it, doesn't matter, because you're not going to enjoy it if you're trying to think of how this actually would happen.
Right.
Go into logistics of it, you're not going to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, this is not a serious movie.
Because there's nothing about this that would ever fucking occur the way that it does.
No, I mean, well, some of it, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like Heather's is in that sense, where none of that shit would have happened in Heather's either, but it's just fun for the sake of plot and story in a way.
It's a little different tone with Heather's though. Like, it's the 80s, like, and they do these they all plan this to look like suicides, and that can work. So that can throw off an investigation pretty quickly, especially in that time period. But now those girls would have been fucking pegged instantly.
Right.
Instantly. They would have been tracking all their fucking social media usages. They would have pinged their fucking phones. Like, their shit would have been stopped right away. Maybe not in a small town, though, so that's why I can see, like, the small town aspect
But
of
it's
it
also
working.
a comedy, Brittany, so
No,
it's
I know.
not supposed to, yeah.
That's the same thing where I'm just like, try not to focus on the technicalities, because then you will not like the fucking movie. That's kind of what I'm
surprised.
saying.
I'm really surprised. I thought you were going to love this.
I did like it. I had a lot of fucking fun with this movie. It made me laugh the whole time. Like, I actually enjoyed it. I'm just saying,
you wanted so much more?
don't focus on the technicalities or you won't like the fucking movie. Plain and simple.
Okay,
Like,
all right.
That's just how I feel. I just wanted more. I expected more, and I didn't get what I wanted. And I feel like it's because I amped myself up too much to watch it beforehand, and I just didn't.
Fair enough. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just saying I'm surprised by it because I really adored this movie.
It just didn't blow my load.
Toby in the movie, there was this guy who crashes his bike. He's the guy that's in Future Man. He's Josh. But he like crashes his bike because they fuck him up. And then like his leg gets all twisted, and then Michaela goes down to fucking kill him, and then he's like, "Oh God, I'm dying," and she's
it's her ex, yeah,
and yeah, it's her ex-boyfriend, and she didn't want to kill him in the first place, but Brianna didn't like him because she just is over his like.
He's fucking annoying.
Yeah, he's like the cool guy in school, and he's really not even a bad guy. Like he's just like, I don't know. There's nothing the reason they would kill him.
He won't retweet their blog.
Yeah, they didn't like that he wouldn't retweet their blog.
That's why she hates him so much.
Because he had so many things or whatever. But
it's not my brand.
But like as he's getting murdered, he's like, I guess if I'm getting murdered, I'm glad that it's you. And then she cries, and I think she kisses him.
They make out, or she's kissing him, and he's dead.
And then they stab the shit out of him.
They stabbed him before that.
Yeah, and after too, I think.
No, I think after she's kissing him, and the girl catches her, and then she just drops his head, and he's dead on the ground.
Yeah, it was
like,
pretty funny though.
Corpse. Sweet.
Do you have another scene?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This actually kind of Actually, I think it's time for this one at this point.
Okay.
Oh my God, when she kills the fucking chick. They break apart that fucking library that she made, that little like library book that they set outside people's houses for like this, like you put books in there.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I can't remember the relevance of the chick or why they don't fucking like her or who she is or whatever, but she's just a bitch and she's annoying.
She gets chained, and it's like this chain of events, and like
she's staying late in like the wood shop or whatever
to build these book houses.
Yeah, she's trying to rebuild her little library thing because she was going to get a scholarship off of this. She was about to go to a national championship or some shit for a scholarship, and they break it, right, to lure her in so they can kill her.
Right.
And like, there's this whole series of just fucking unfortunate events that lead up to her dying, which is fucking great. Like, she's the head cheerleader too, so she like calls Michaela out on her shoes in an earlier scene, because they're just not. She just wants everybody to be safe, and so she needs to sit this one out or whatever, because they're all like these sparkly, stupid tennis shoes, right? And so they show up, and they have their this is the first time they use their little masks.
Yeah, the white ones.
Before they paint them, they're just white. And they start turning the lights on and off, and then the girl figures out how to turn them back on. But before that, she turns on this table saw, which is foreshadowing as fuck.
Right.
And turns it off, and then she finds the lights, and she goes to turn around, and one of the girls is standing behind her. And then
looks down, sees her shoes.
Not yet. She turns around the other way, and then sees the other girl's behind her. So now she's trapped, and so she gets scared, and then she looks down and sees it's Michaela's fucking shoes, and she's like, Michaela?
Yeah, that she was bragging about earlier.
And she's all, fuck, and like takes her fucking thing off, and now they're like, well, now we definitely gotta fucking kill her, because she knows who we are. And so they go to attack her, but she throws something at them or whatever so she can go and get away. And there's like this whole scuffle back and forth between the three girls. And then eventually somehow this girl gets her legs wrapped up in this chain. And then she's like
yoinked up
in the air, and then all of a sudden the table saw thing and the scuffle got turned on, right? And then she swings towards the fucking table saw and just it slices through her fucking head.
It was fucking great.
And it was awesome, right? So then now they're like, well, now that's gonna look like another fucking suicide, like because all the other kills look like suicides from this point. So they're trying to make this not look like a suicide.
Yeah, because it's almost like the anti-Heathers in a way.
It is, in a way.
Because they don't want it to, like, sprout some, like, crazy shit.
They don't want it to look like people are just killing themselves. They want it to become this tragedy situation for their blog.
Right.
So they decide, well, if we fucking chop her up and fuck her up and throw her all around the fucking gym and do some crazy shit, then, like, there's not a chance in hell anyone's going to think that's a suicide, right? So they're chopping her up in just horrible ways. Like, it's like
it's
not
really
cleaning
bad.
itself, and they're throwing, she's like this, and like throws her fucking arm or whatever onto this, like off to the side.
Yeah, casually as
fuck. And then the janitor comes in,
which is great,
which is hilarious. And he's not looking at them, like looking in their direction, and they're just standing there. And Michaela's got the girl's head in her hands, and they're just like deer in headlights staring. And then
like,
he turns the
fuck.
lights off and leaves and doesn't notice them. So the next scene is when the girl's like little wannabe best friend or whatever shows up, and she sees the blood on the floor first, and then she looks up and there's that chick's head spinning around on a fucking thing with her fucking cut up body all over the place. And it was so good.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention was in that part is like there's a lot of really heavy like horror movie nods in this movie. Maybe not as deep cuts as like, you know, some of us horror nerds would like appreciate, but still some pretty deep or deep-ish cuts. But in that scene where she gets killed, she was like, "Oh damn!" She was like, "That's some Final Destination shit."
Oh, I lost it.
I was like, "That's so great," because it totally was. It was like, what the fuck just happened? Like they were blown away by it.
They played that perfectly. Like that was it, well executed fucking scene. And I loved that entire sequence, and that whole part was fan-fucking-tastic.
And the humor in it, it's really fucked up.
It was so funny, and I loved it, and I wish the whole movie was like that, all of that, all put together.
Okay.
It had bits and pieces that, like, sprouted throughout. So, like, that one, and then the kill scene where they killed the big dude. Brilliant.
You know, I mean, I have some final thoughts that I'm like adding to my head now that I think I didn't really realize at first. Well, I watched it, but now thinking back, I'm thinking that, like, each of these characters in the movie that they kill are also different types of personality online.
For sure.
So in a way, it's like they're killing off like the narcissism, even though they're narcissistic as well, which is the great hypocrisy of online.
Yeah, they're killing off their trolls.
Right. Like, it's the love and hate that you have with the internet. Like, you're no better than anybody else in a way, because, like, if you really didn't like the internet, you just wouldn't be on it.
Right.
But there's so many valuable things in it. But the one scene that I really liked was the Craig Robinson scene attack. Like, the attack that they have in there. Big Al.
Big Al.
His, like, to be honest, like, he was funny. He was different. Like, he is typical Craig Robinson.
I feel like they didn't utilize him enough.
They didn't write him well enough. I don't think. Like, he should have had more parts in it. But there was he did say some funny stuff in it that made me laugh. But his death, holy fuck, dude.
Great.
Like, guys, I hope you're not listening, because, man, this is one of the best kills in the whole fucking movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you don't want to know, then don't listen past this point for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like, they attack him. Like, Michaela's trying to act like the girl that's just like adoring him, and she's trying to lure him into his embrace to kill him. And Brianna comes in and, like, what does she do?
Because the kid's gonna show up at her house, and so she needs to be home.
Oh, that's
the
right.
sheriff's
Yeah.
son, like, that's obsessed with her, is gonna show up at her house in like 20 minutes. So she's trying to hurry it the fuck up.
Right, that's right. But they try to stab him and everything like that. They get in this big brawl, and they finally do stab him. He falls back on a weightlifting bench, and the fucking dude, the weightlifting bar cuts his fucking head in half.
Yeah, she
I was
pulls
like,
the pin out.
Yeah, she pulls the pin. It's like zinc, and it's
So
like
good.
And he's like, ah!
And I was like, yeah, like I thought they were gonna make it like decapitate him or something.
No, I was so
but
glad.
They chop it straight through his fucking head, and it was so cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was legit, and I did not expect it. And I literally
way
was
gorier than I was
oh
expecting.
yeah, Mouse and I went, damn, like at the same time. I'm like, holy fuck, like they did a good job. It was cool. Yeah, I did not expect that.
When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be a lot of cutaway scene, like
I was glad,
and
though.
I was so happy that they like went into it the way that they did, especially like their little nod to Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, they did the chick on the pole.
Did.
Yeah, like that was so cool.
And I wanted, like, if they didn't, I don't know. To me, I was all Cannibal Holocaust. Like, come on.
It totally is, and some all the like movies that I were able to catch nods for, and I'm sure I missed some. But these are the ones I got. So we got Final Destination. We got they talk about Dario Argento.
Yeah.
And I think they mentioned Suspiria, but I don't remember for sure. But then they do a nod to Cannibal Holocaust, like you're just talking about with the teacher on the flagpole. They got Michael Myers falling off after being shot when Lowell gets shot by the sheriff. So do you remember that part?
No.
So,
yeah.
Where he's like, it's like the sheriff comes in, shoots him, he falls over the railing or over through the window.
Out the window, yeah.
Right, and that's totally Michael
Myers shit.
Yeah, that's Michael Myers all the way, dude.
Yeah, I was like, Halloween.
Then, of course, they also do the burning of the school, which
Carrie.
is the Carrie thing. I saw a Thing poster in the background. They also talk about Martyrs, the movie Martyrs, because he borrows the movie. So there's a lot of like real like horror tucked into this, and it covers a wide spectrum. It's not just like the easy grabs like Final Destination. Like Martyrs isn't exactly a huge
Martyrs
popper.
is great. Like I was so impressed when they said that.
I've been thinking about doing that one too recently because
Martyrs.
I haven't seen it in a while. It's pretty fucked up. I remember turning away a couple of times in that movie. So do you have any other ones?
Talked about Shish Tits already. I didn't like what led up to that scene, but I thought that was cool. Like, that death scene was cool.
That was, like, crazy. It was, like, so
random.
off the wall.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did he get her up there?
Like prior to that is when shit kind of, like, hit the fan and got wonky for a little while there.
Right.
And I'm like, God damn it.
I thought it was funny, though, man.
Like, it was funny, but this, again, ties back to me being like, this guy's not fucking necessary. Like, and then all this shit's just getting, like, it's why we have to add another element.
But he is necessary.
I don't know. I still it's arguable for me.
I think it's fun.
He was fun. He's an interesting character. I'm not gonna fucking.
I loved it when they were in the limo together and like
they're
going to prom.
Is great.
Yeah, like Michaela and him were great.
I felt like they should have just left it alone and just had the two girls because their chemistry together was fucking brilliant the whole time. And I felt like I understand why they went the direction they did, but I felt like they didn't necessarily need to because they were so brilliant together on their own.
Well, that's true, but I think this added another fun layer.
It was a different. Yeah, I mean it's a second story that they so it's
there's no doubt that both those girls are fucking those two girls, by the way, guys, are gonna be fucking huge. Like, what's her name has only been in 3 fucking movies from fucking this movie, and she's picked everything great. She's in fucking The Exorcist, the TV show. She picked fucking Deadpool. She got fucking Deadpool 2. She's knocking them out of the fucking park, man. Like, and then fucking Michaela's character, the fucking Alexandra girl, I guarantee you she's gonna be really big. I don't know. I just have a feeling about it. Mm-hmm. One of the last things I will mention on the favorite scenes, and then we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts, is the kind of the end scene. So if you guys don't want to know this, I would really highly recommend you not listen to this, but we will wrap it up, so I'll try to make it brief so you can skip ahead. But they kill Lowell, the serial killer guy, when they shoot him in the head. Like, just like, it's like, bam!
Yeah, where'd that bitch get a gun?
I don't know. Maybe from him.
She just like pulls it out of her purse, and then that's the one and only time it gets used, and then it's done. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Which they use to kill the him. But then the friend says, I missed you, and they like hug, and she hangs her boyfriend.
I loved it.
Yeah, like, I was like...
I loved it. Because, I was like, well, come on. They're going into this stupid fucking, like, best friends hate each other, love story kind of twist. And I'm like, that's annoying.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you see that she's like, gonna go back to the dark side with her fucking friend, and I'm all, oh my god, she's gonna kill her boyfriend.
Right, yeah.
And she does. I'm all, what a bitch.
I was listening to some other podcast, and I won't mention names. I won't mention names, but...
And that's like, I liked that twist, though, because they try and play Michaela off like she's the crazy person. She's not.
Right.
Another girl's the fucking psycho.
Right.
Like the more normal one that gets the boyfriend and ditches her friend and whatever. And I'm like, damn, Sadie. That's her name.
Sadie, yeah. Well, one of the things I found out, I went and checked out a couple of reviews and like listened to a podcast and stuff, and I was a little disappointed to hear that people were like, "Oh, the end was just so bad. Like, I can't believe that they did that." And I was like, "Really?" Like you thought, and they were saying that they thought it was bad because the worst people in the movie win.
Duh.
And I'm like, are you seriously a Hollywood trope?
What's the point?
Like, really?
Did
Like,
watch
you really
the rest
want
of the movie?
you want unoriginality?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that's like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not fucking Twilight. Like, fuck off.
I don't understand. Like, it didn't make any sense. I love the fact that they were leading me down that path, and they were like, just kidding, haha.
Yeah, so did
gotcha.
I thought it was smart.
Yeah, I was like, thank you. Like,
was smart, and
it
it was
showed me
different.
that they knew that they could go that way, and then they didn't at the
Yeah.
last second, which I thought was great.
It's not a fucking Disney movie.
No.
Suck a dick.
So,
Leave it alone. It
but-
was fun. I liked that they weren't fucking like.
But you weren't really happy
Didn't
with it. I'm
anticipate
really
it.
sad to hear that you were disappointed
No,
with it.
quite honestly, it's just it is what it is. I expected to be a little bit more blown away from it, and I wasn't. But I
Yeah.
think I did it to myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do this all the time. Like, there's all these crazy movies that I get so stoked to like psych myself up for, and then I finally watch them, and then I'm just like, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to not do that ever.
Well, I'll
anymore.
say this. I don't know what to give it a score, but I definitely liked it more than Happy Death Day.
Oh yeah.
And I liked it, gonna say it, this is my pick for the two.
That's fine.
Like, I still love the other one, I really do. But I just love how current it is,
Mm-hmm.
how violent and dark it was. Like, it was, like, extremely gory in some scenes, which I fucking adored. I was like, thank you, God. Like, this movie would not, it may have reached a better audience if they hadn't, but I love that it was gory. Like, I'm so
do.
glad that he chose to do that. So, Tyler, if you're listening, fucking hell yeah, dude.
And it was like cool, tastefully done, like gore elements and stuff. Like, they didn't get too fucking crazy with it.
Yeah,
but when
no.
they did, it works. Like, and it's cool and it's called for and it's necessary. So
I think so, yeah.
I thought it was fucking brilliant, and I agree. Like, good job on that. I was super surprised because I did not think it was going to be like that at all.
I was hoping.
And they fucking nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just a sick fuck, so probably.
Yeah, but it wasn't like overly done and annoying.
No.
You know what I mean? It
Like,
wasn't just like gore to be gory.
He did mention that he likes the movie Detention a lot, but he didn't want to go too far because he thought it might be too much. But he thought that this movie kind of was somewhere in the middle between, like, Heathers and like, Detention.
Yeah, this
But-
is more of a hardcore Heathers.
Right. I personally, I really, really, truly like this movie. I love it, actually. I am super excited to get it on Blu-ray. Like, I want it immediately. Like, I gotta have it. I say that you should see it and love it, plain and simple. Plus, whoever is supposed to be writing the live-action hack-and-slash action movie from the comic, please hire Tyler McIntyre and the writers of this movie, because I think you would be stupid not to. I think hack-and-slash, the comic, this is almost exactly what it should, like the tone of it a little bit should be, because it is a very silly sort of story with a bunch of these different serial killers and stuff that they do. And I think he would do a good job. So, but that's all I got to say.
I didn't hate it as much as you thought I did because I still bought it. So
Oh, you bought it?
I did buy it. I liked
Really?
this. I liked the movie. Like, I did, and actually I want to watch it again, maybe by myself,
Yeah.
so I can just like totally zone out and pay attention. Like, it's not like I wasn't paying attention because I was.
Oh,
Mouse
I'm
and I
just
were, like,
giving
totally,
you
like,
shit about it. I
enthralled,
don't
but
mind. I'm just surprised.
It's mostly just me.
I really thought you were I just really thought that this was gonna be your favorite.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you pick Heathers over this as it stands
It's
right
actually
now.
like, it's kind of hard for me to choose because it's like straight down the middle for me. But
Okay.
I really like both, but for completely different fucking reasons.
Right, yeah, it's hard to. I mean, it is a good matchup, but it's really hard to decide because one, they're in two different eras, like two different decades,
Yeah.
and then like
And
two,
it's-
like
It's hard to say
Yeah.
too what's gonna stand the test of time here between the two of them, because the one from the 80s is gonna fall out of,
circulation.
yeah,
memory.
well, and it's not gonna make a lot of sense to people like in 30-40 years probably.
Probably, yeah.
So, but this other one would, because it's gonna take the place of the 80s
right.
come 40 years from now. You know what I mean? So 20 years from now, whatever. So it's like, I don't know.
I think their
both of them,
performances are just
one's already a cult
so
classic.
good.
This is gonna be a cult classic. Like, I
Oh,
don't care what
totally.
anybody says. I don't know. I really liked a lot of things about it. But again, I like both for two different reasons.
Sure.
Will I watch both again?
Well,
Fuck yeah. I've
you'll have
already
to let
watched
me know
Heathers
what
a
you
million
think
times.
the second time you watch it. I mean, again, it may, if it didn't, like, if you had such high expectations, I mean, I kind of did have high expectations, but I think they were superseded. Because, I don't know, maybe I
That's
didn't
good.
have, I don't know. Like, for me, it was superseded. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it almost, I'd probably, if I had to give it a score, like, I really love Mom and Dad. I love that movie. You need to watch that.
Yeah, it's in my queue.
I think that's a little bit better than this one, but the cadence and the style of this one and like the beats of the humor and everything like that, I feel like this one just is a little bit more amped up.
I want to watch it with Jenny.
What?
Then maybe I'll change my mind.
Oh, yeah,
Like
watch it with her.
100%. Like, I want to watch it with her, and I think I'll have more fun.
So what do you guys
I just
think?
want to watch it with her.
Did you guys see this movie yet? Do you want to see this movie yet? Did you like Heathers more than you like this one? Have you seen Heathers? If you haven't seen Heathers, please go see Heathers. And if you haven't, it's on Netflix, by the way, guys. You can watch Heathers on Netflix for free if you are in the United States. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but you might as well watch it if you get a chance. So check it out.
Else too. It was somewhere else for free too. I don't know if it's on Prime or
Maybe,
what,
I don't know.
I know it's on Netflix.
I know it
Hulu.
just came out on Blu-ray.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, is that
also.
okay? I know it just came out on Blu-ray not too long ago. Tragedy Girls is out on digital right now. I think it's going to have a Blu-ray release date soon
It's like $5 to buy and $13, I think, to own.
on digital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to pick up the Blu-ray for me.
Yeah, an actual copy.
Yeah,
I
like
just bought it on through Amazon.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by this week. As I mentioned, it's really good to kind of like visit some of the. I think these were really good, strong female lead movies. I thought that they really embodied like good acting, I think, in my opinion. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from the girls from Tragedy Girls.
Me too.
I think they're going to be just knocking it out of the fucking park, dude. Like, I don't know. There's something about them that was just so kinetic and just like crazy. So, but we'll be back on Monday, of course, for a brand new episode, a brand new week. And if you haven't already, please do follow us on all of our social media. You can go to longlivethevoid.com to check out any of our social media and add us there. And don't forget to, I do also do streaming, so you can add me there and hang out and extend that a little bit more. So, but other than that, we'll see you next Monday.
Stay weird, monsters.